Okay, I think we are now going live. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. This is the Nextv Southeast Asia's virtual gathering. We have a wonderful group of panellists you can see before you on your virtual platform. The issue we're discussing here, or the content, is the role of mobiles in the video ecosystem. Now, during this discussion, we'll look at a number of areas. We've got 45 minutes to get through quite a bit of content. Part of that content is looking at dedicated mobile plans for video and TV content, mobile operators going into OTT, and the opportunities that we're looking at also of the mobile user segment for streaming platforms. But let's get into meeting the people who will be guiding us through this conversation. I'm Sarah Clark, I'm moderating, but I'll introduce the panellists. We've got Adrian Britton covering APAC from Bitmoven. We've got Nitin Anand from Ooredoo, and he's in Myanmar. We've got Derek Heng, who's with Telkomsel, and we've got Francis John Chua from the Global Telecom. Now, I'm going to throw to each individual member of this panel discussion to give us about 60 seconds of, number one, who you are, your company, and a bit of a profile so the audience can understand, and also welcome to the audience. Now, Derek, I'll start with you because you're in the top corner. If you can give us 60 seconds of who you are and about your company.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Derek Heng. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer, Telkomsel Indonesia. So we are the market leader with 175 million customers. We are now going through a digital transformation from telco to techco in order to open a world of more for our customers and Indonesia, enabled by connectivity and innovation. Thanks.
Adrian, we'll move to you. If you can give us a brief about who you are, a bit about Bitmoven and your profile within the company.
Cool. Yeah, nice to meet everybody. Thank you for the invite. My name's Adrian Britton. I'm based in Sydney, Australia. I head up the solutions team for the region, covering pre-sales, post-sales, and implementation. Essentially, Bitmoven is a technology company. We specialize in cloud-based video infrastructure. That basically means that we provide three main products, which is the encoding and compression product, a player product that's renowned for working on a multitude of devices, and a data analytics tool. I'm here as the kind of technologist in the crowd. I'll happily field it from my side of the fence. We're very lucky to be working with some of the biggest brands in the world who consume our product, and we're honoured to have them as customers. Thank you, Sarah.
Francis, tell us a bit more about you. You've got 60 seconds to give us your pitch about your profile and your company.
Sure. My name is Francis, and I work for Globe Telecom and based out of here, Manila, in the Philippines. So Globe Telecom is really focused on content and telco. But in the previous years, we've really shifted, just like Derek's company, Telkomsel, we've really now focused on providing technology to more Filipinos in the Philippines, and we've now have interest in content providing content for the Filipinos, providing e-wallet solutions, and many other things. So it's really now all about providing innovations for many Filipinos that technology can provide, whether via mobile or straight to their homes.
And Nitin, we've finally got you in Myanmar. Tell me about Ooredoo and your profile.
Hi, my name is Nitin Anand, and I'm the Director for Digital and Mobile Money Business for Ooredoo Myanmar. Ooredoo is one of the largest telecom companies based out of Qatar, and one of the opcos is Ooredoo Myanmar. Ooredoo Myanmar is really trying to drive the digital transformation of Myanmar in particular. We really want to bring the latest and the most digitized solutions to the people of Myanmar, thereby trying to make their lives better. And like Derek said, from a telco to a techco, my role is actually to convert Ooredoo Myanmar from a telco to a techco.
Okay, we're kicking off this conversation that we're going to have over the next 40 or so minutes. The first area we want to look at is the state of the video consumption in Asia from the operator's perspective. An interesting point and a topical one that's sadly continuing is looking at COVID and how it's impacted the mobile entertainment market. Derek, can I start with you? Just generally, how has it changed consumer behaviour and what kind of impact has COVID had?
No, I think with COVID, we've seen two opposing impacts. So on one hand, we have closure of physical venues, right? Like movie theaters, music halls. So that accelerated the adoption of digital media in Indonesia. So we saw a strong uptick during the pandemic. Monthly users of media digital services in our network, including our proprietary video streaming portal, which is Nextv. On the other hand, we see studios were equally constrained by the COVID restrictions. So actors do not come to the studio. Game developers have difficulties working from their stations, and a lot of widely anticipated movies, game releases were postponed, impacting the overall supply of new content. So, but however, with the more stable situation in Indonesia now, these constraints have been resolved, and so we are very optimistic with this situation, given that the cases are now a lot more contained.
There might be some interaction or something that's disruption on your microphone there, Derek. But look, just for the next conversation or next question. But look, Francis, let's go to the Philippines. How has COVID impacted on the way we watch, through the various platforms? Has COVID had an impact on consumer behaviour?
Mm-hmm. Sarah, so I guess if I were to kind of like base it around the world, I guess the impact is quite the same. However, here in the Philippines, there are probably three things that sort of kind of like change the way we do things here in the Philippines. One would be the closure of our largest broadcast company in the Philippines, ABS-CBN. So with them closing down, I guess it really kind of like narrowed down the content options available to mainstream audiences. And because it had the largest reach and availability and audience base, people had no choice but to turn off their sets, watch online shows, and watch other networks. Maybe in this case, maybe number two, it's really a lot about huge demand for broadband Wi-Fi because of the shift from a face-to-face education system to a hybrid system. There was a strong demand for broadband Wi-Fi, and now it became more serviceable in more areas. It became more affordable, which leads to number three, the lack of TV shows. That sort of created that shift to online, and as well as the supply of broadband of fast fiber internet made people want to see and watch more on their mobile phones. And now, because also of celebrities being displaced, I guess that also made more celebrities want to go online to be able to monetize their own content. So I guess with these three things, we're seeing huge growth behind people watching their mobile phones. And number three, apart from social media and messaging, watching mobile content on their mobile phones is really one of the biggest activities here in the Philippines. And we're just seeing a huge trend. This huge trend just going on and on because of this major shift in broadcast system.
And in looking at the market in Myanmar and consumer behaviour, have you witnessed a shift towards smart TVs in your market?
Oh, I think something amazing happened with COVID. Not the right word to use, amazing, but yeah, that's what happened in the telecom industry. But suddenly everything shifted to the mobile. Yeah. Before we used to struggle to get people onboarded to kickstart their consumption on the mobile, push them to start buying, push them to start watching, push them to start playing. But suddenly this push actually came through COVID. So we like to call it in Myanmar this as the COVID push. What it did for us is suddenly all people were locked down in their homes and they had no other choice but to get on their phones and start consuming content. Suddenly, people who would be laggards in terms of adoption of technology or new ways to communicate. Suddenly, they had no choice but to actually open a Teams account, or to possibly open a Zoom account, or to possibly open an Instagram account, or a gaming account, and 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 that whole shift actually moved from uh, uh, into the mobile phone, right? So in a way, actually, the mobile phone became the smart TV. In Myanmar, we do not have so much of TV penetration, right? And obviously, Myanmar is a growing, building economy, so smart TV would be very in very few hands. But suddenly, all the smartphones became smart TV. We had subscriptions of Netflix being sold here, which is uh, not covered by Netflix, but being sold here. We had Disney Plus being sold here, not covered by Disney Plus this region, but still being sold here. So that's what happened here.
Adrian, was there a COVID push? You can talk, I suppose, more generally looking at APAC, but how would you have seen the COVID influence being on consumer behaviour and
Yeah,
experience?
so kind of like Derek said, it's almost like there was two influences that were colliding. One a positive influence and one a negative influence. I mean, ultimately we grew out of it, so it's a good news story as far as we're concerned. The negative influence was a lot of projects that we had in train either had their funding pulled or were resource challenged on the customer side. I think it became very hard for our customers to hold teams together while there was just so much more important disruption happening in their people's worlds, right? But the positive influence that we had was that our existing customers were growing. As Nitin says, people find a way. They were consuming content because they were stuck at home. So some of our big SVOD providers, they just steadily grew, and with that comes the demands of technology platforms such as ourselves, but also their impetus to add more features and functionality for the better of their audience. So yeah, two kind of competing things, and I kind of hope that we're out the other side of this particular journey in our world. I kind of hope we are, and look forward to kind of a bit of normalizing now, getting back to the real world.
Well, looking at what type of content was being consumed, what were we looking at? Was there a shift? Was it long format? I might go back to you, Francis. Can you tell us about what were people watching? Was it a long format consumption that we saw during this time? We're still seeing.
It was actually a combination of long format and short format. So I guess because of the lack of more recent shows, movies, for example. So we're seeing a lot of people rewatching their movies. We've seen a lot of studios put in their content online, and some of them are even on free site like YouTube, and some of them on paywalls. There's also a huge shift towards gaming. I mean, gaming was very popular around this time because people had nothing to do, I guess, and with the adoption of 5G as well, we had better service. We had really good mobile phones. And so graphics wise, entertainment was there. The passion for gaming was also there. Music videos was also one of the things that we've seen, kind of like grow in the Philippines. And a lot of comedy shows. I mean, we as a country, we love, making fun of, making light, making, things, a little more done more humorously. So I guess comedy shows, memes, vines, all of these other short formats had a real, purpose in the way we do things. And so those are the kind of things that are being watched.
Derek, tell me about your market. Looking at the situation in Indonesia, what was the type of format or content that was being watched or is being watched?
Yeah, very similar to what Francis said. Even in Indonesia, unsurprisingly, YouTube and TikTok was the most engaged platform on our network. These platforms are free and they are, really mass market. However, we saw A and SVOD platforms on the rise, and they are already demanding millions of MAU, including our own video streaming platform. Indonesians love to watch drama. They love rom-coms, romance. So there was a uptick in terms of Indonesian content, Hollywood, Korean content on their mobiles, both movie as well as TV series. So these genres were very popular when people are locked down at their homes.
Adrian, moving to the next kind of element of this conversation is looking at the opportunities for mobile operators. To what extent do you treat mobile as the primary device?
Sorry, you crackled out there just for a few seconds. To what extent do operators treat mobile as the primary device? Yes.
Yeah. Exactly that.
So there's definitely different opportunities that are happening in different regions. So Derek, I think you touched on TikTok. The TikTok experience over I was about to say years, but I'm just going to say months just to keep it trendy, right? Over the last months has become a consumption method, not of primary choice, but of partial choice. So the experience of being able to scroll through your content in rapid procession. I just want to watch this. No, I'm bored of this. Next one. That's evolved into a feature that we call gapless playlisting, which essentially allows for one piece of content to have the second piece of content and the third piece of content ready in the background as you kind of half complete, which allows you to flip from one to the other. So that's the kind of rapid TikTok type evolving opportunity. So that experience, I think you could only honestly do on a mobile phone. There's no equivalent to the kind of UI gesture of rapid change. Doesn't really exist on a computer device. Doesn't really exist on a smart television device. I think that's exclusive for the mobile world. I think the other opportunity is less about the mobile, but more to do with where the mobile finds itself. So smart TVs, they tend to be pretty well anchored in your living room, right? Computers, to a large extent, the same kind of thing. Whereas a mobile is coming with you, a cell phone is coming with you on the train, places where there's good mobile reception, terrible mobile reception, and hence the opportunity for maybe combating that with features like downloading. So the ability to, while maintaining the security that's important for all this content, being able to download the content and bring it locally to that device for a short-term license that will allow people to be temporarily disconnected from the internet. And maybe that's another experience that's only possible on the mobile, based on just the fact that you can hand it around and carry it around into strange locations. I've probably got a few more, but I'll let other people have a go.
Well, Nitin, I was going to ask you, I mean, what are your thoughts on that question? Are there any particular challenges delivering to mobile versus, say, for example, a smart TV or desktop? What are your thoughts?
Sorry, you're saying, are there any challenges for delivering?
Yes.
On the mobile phone, right? That's the question.
Given you touched on mobile being a key platform earlier, particularly during COVID and the shift towards a mobile more so. But are there any challenges that are facing using mobile versus, say, for example, a smart TV or desktop?
Oh yeah, for us, particularly here in Myanmar, there was a challenge where I think there was restriction on access of internet, and therefore users were not able to receive content or consume content easily. Apart from that, I really do not see any specific challenge which would restrict. What happened in the Myanmar market also specifically is, the phones become your personal space, and it is also your personal comfort zone. You would see everybody standing next to their phone in a lift, and the first thing they do is take out the phone, and suddenly they are in their own comfort zones, right? And they will, like Adrian was saying, they would start doing their browsing. And I think people have got used to this browsing and come into their own comfort zones, both in their homes and in public spaces. And that's why you see a lot of browsing and consumption of content. Apart from technical or technology issues, I think Myanmar also has 4G all across, and therefore no issues in being able to deliver content. So really no big issues. Yeah.
Derek, your thoughts?
Well, I think it's really a hybrid of both from a lifestyle perspective. The smart TVs are really inevitable in the future. In fact, if you look at in Indonesia, you can already buy an entry level smart TV. However, we feel that the replacement cycle of a TV is much longer than the phone. People change their phone every 2 or 3 years, and well, I think TV would take a much longer time to be replaced. So it's really a lifestyle that we see our customers embracing. If they would like to enjoy content at home or in a company of friends or family, smart TV is the way to enjoy entertainment. But if you're on the move, or if you're stuck in traffic in Jakarta, you will likely be having a mobile phone to kill time.
Let's look at the issue of the boom of vertical videos and short form in Asia. Who would like to jump in on this one? Is there such a thing, and where are we heading? Adrian.
That'll be me. So I kind of touched on it a little bit before with the TikTok. I mean, that's a combination of maybe TikTok itself being banned by certain jurisdictions in certain parts of Asia Pacific for whatever reason. That then opens up this massive vacuum of consumers that still want to have their vertical video, rapid change, mini consumption experience, yet TikTok is no longer available to them due to choices made by their legislation. So the opportunity is to replace TikTok first of all. That's the kind of low-hanging fruit. But I see it myself. I see it in my children. I see it all around me. You've kind of got two different kind of viewing habits. You've got the long-form viewing habit, which in my household is the smart TV. We gather around it. The smart TV has the best picture quality. It's got the high dynamic range, and it's got all the speakers, so it does the Dolby Atmos and all the kind of great sound quality. I'm happy to watch a longer form content on that than I would on a handphone, where I'm more easily distracted. But by the same token, it's been touched on multiple places. If you're in the traffic in Jakarta, if you're stuck on an aeroplane, if you're in an elevator, if you're here, there, and anywhere, 5-second videos, 7-second videos, get beyond about 30 seconds, and suddenly your attention span has moved to the next thing. So most of the rapid change videos have a vertical form factor just by sheer definition. From a technology point of view, we don't really care. I mean, for us, it's an aspect ratio. Hold your phone this way, hold your phone that way. The platform caters for both implementations. It's more matching towards the user's desired behavior, with maybe TikTok as the flag they're aiming towards.
Francis, your thoughts? Or Nitin, if you want to.
Maybe.
I just wanted to pick from Adrian. I think it's the vertical format also has got to do with your ability to hold the phone. Yeah. Once you turn the phone like this, then your maneuverability with the phone and being mobile yourself in a public place actually goes down. And that's one of the biggest reasons why vertical format is actually growing so much. Second is, I think I would like to split this whole thing into 3 or 4 formats of watching. Yeah, this flip-flopping and the TikTok sensation is predominantly because of 2 reasons. One is 3 reasons. One, I have a phone in my hand where there's a lot of speed which is available. Number 1. Number 2 is this is UGC content, right? People typically want to watch real people. And that's a phenomena, right? So what we watch on Netflix and what we watch on TV shows is produced, right? Here is a real person, and your ability to associate with real person is much more real. And you yourself as a viewer start believing, oh, this is a real person, I can be somebody like him, and therefore that influence is also much more stronger in the TikTok uh, uh, scenario, right? And that's why people like to watch. They want to watch people like themselves. They want to watch people who are others, who are what things they're doing and what they can pick from there. So that's one level of viewership which is on the phone. The other level of viewership which I have seen, especially in my house, is when you want to have a private session, you go into your room, you connect to Wi-Fi, and you consume video on your laptop. So that's another set of viewership, and then obviously that's the family section where you watch Netflix together and uh, uh, with the family. So it's split into these three broad areas, and casual consumption is anyways just too high, uh, because I think the amount of time which you have casually has phenomenally increased.
Francis, you were going to weigh into that before. What are your thoughts?
I probably won't repeat anymore what Adrian and Nitin have already said, but I would want to focus more about the content that is being consumed on vertical videos. And I think there's a real challenge to the truth that's also being put out there. I mean, if you look at the way people, how fast people are able to publish stories on their vertical videos, whether it's in TikTok, it's in Facebook Reels or Instagram Reels, regardless of what platform it is in, it's the ability of of the person to tell stories, to narrate stories from their point of view, and when people consume it as truth. So there is also a whole layer of responsibility behind being able to create all of these vertical videos, and I guess that's going back to the point of Adrian. There's the whole discussion about of censorship, being able to regulate all of these contents is being published out on TikTok and all these platforms. So there is a real challenge around that. I think as a format, sure, that's very, very entertaining. But as a content itself, there must be some sort of responsibility behind
Okay,
this.
moving on to the issue of content strategy, and Derek, I'll start with you. Thoughts for operators creating partnerships with streamers and content providers. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, in Telkomsel, we pursue partnerships as very much as part of our Maxstream video streaming offering, and with which partnership OTT providers get access to our video streaming platform with data bundles. So it is really a win-win situation for our customers. There's content and there's connectivity to enable watching that entertainment. So we will continue to pursue marketing partnership, and we have done so with the likes of Disney Plus. We have just launched Netflix partnership recently, where we are able to where our customers can enjoy Netflix on the move with the payment using their mobile load. So that to us, it's a situation where we can offer significant distribution reach and give access to carrier billing. So these are important aspects of the value chain which the video OTT platforms seek.
Would anyone else like to weigh into that one? I just hope my bandwidth is giving me kind of a little bit of a problem. Hopefully you can still see me and hear me. But anyone else, the thoughts on that for operators creating partnerships with streamers and content providers? Francis, can you let me know what your thoughts are?
Yeah, Sarah, maybe I think because if you look at anywhere in the world where there's a telco operator, they probably will go into some kind of a content partnership because it is the lifeblood essentially of the OTT streamers, OTT companies, and of the telco. But what makes interesting for Globe is that I think it's two things. One is being able to push adaptive streaming among among our subscribers, because if you look at the way the Philippines is set up, the internet here is not as probably stable across the Philippines. it varies, depending on where you are. So it's very important to have some sort of network solutions to be able to do adaptive streaming. And the other one is really being able to provide emerging storytellers a platform where they can, express themselves. And I guess that's where Globe has also kind of like focused itself. Apart from being able to partner with established institutions, we're also partnering with, emerging creators, even nano ones. So just to be able to give them a platform to be able to tell their stories.
Discussing or weighing into content just then. Nitin, can you tell me what your thoughts? Now, are you sourcing content through in Myanmar, or are you looking for partnerships? What's the answer for you?
Yeah, I think without partnerships, obviously we cannot play the video content game at all, right? Because it's the content is king, right? The role of our role is to ensure that it can reach the right audience and at the right price point. So we like to work in 3-4 ways with partners, partners like Jukes, for example, partners like Netflix, for example. Though we do not have Netflix here, but here we try and package the whole content and access in such a way that it becomes affordable for the end customer. Then produced content partners like View, working with them to provide access to the subscription services through DCB or through other payment mechanisms or the wallets. And one area where I would really, really like to work is providing that platform to this new generation of content creators who are creating this content on the TikToks of the world. Possibly providing a platform which allows these new gen content creators to create that content on our platform, and therefore give them an avenue to express themselves. What TikTok did was allowed these people to be able to express themselves, right? So that's one area which we really want to work on, and we are looking at. We are very keen to look at partnerships over there also.
Before we shuffle to the next part of this conversation, anyone else want to weigh in to this scenario, looking at partnerships and content?
I mean, generally, when we work with our customers, we would recommend that they acquire the rights and the content masters in as high a resolution as possible. Many of our customers have gone the kind of second or third phase into their SVOD provision, where they're now looking to increase the differentiation between them and other parties that offer a semi-similar service. So they start offering the premium tier, and the premium tier is typically the higher dynamic range or the better quality sound. To obtain the better quality sound and the higher dynamic range, you have to have been working with the studios originally to acquire the rights to the content at that higher level. So that will probably be the only comment I'd add, that when you're working with content partners, ensure that your mastering formats are setting you up not just for your requirements of today, but your requirements of the future, when you need to differentiate your product yet further against your competitors.
Look, Adrian, sticking with you, because I want to move on to the challenges that need to be overcome and those perspectives. What are some of the technical solutions that we currently have, and certainly challenges that we have, solutions and challenges, looking at from both perspectives?
Sure. The internet's a bit of a volatile beast, as we've explored in a number of parts of these conversations. So being able to control what we call the adaptation logic, so that's the logic that the player takes for when it decides to jump up or jump down a resolution to maintain the lack of buffering experience. So adaptation logic is something that is a challenge, and it's obviously, because I'm saying it's a bit of a solution that we have as well. So the ability to fine tune, because ironically, the internet that you're looking at in India might not be the same as the internet that you're looking at in, for example, Singapore. They behave in a very, very different way, and how you start the player to start either quicker with a lower resolution or with a higher resolution because the chances of hitting the available bandwidth is there. That's all part of the performance tuning that comes with this volatile beast known as the internet. The other aspect is just plain and simple. There are a lot of devices out there that people want to consume your content on. You know, delivering vision from a hand phone and a desktop is relatively simple, but you start adding into the mix, you know, casting. So being able to send from the hand phone, from the mobile phone, to another device, to a Google powered device or to a Apple powered device, you know, that takes another level of complexity. I touched briefly on the ability to download, so the ability to take the content off the internet and store it locally while maintaining the security boundaries. That's kind of another aspect. And then you've got the whole other raft of consumption devices. So games consoles, set-top boxes, sticks that you can sell as part of your offering that plug into the back of your television that have their own independent processor. All of these are the challenges and obviously the opportunity for working in a diverse platform. That's the kind of consumption side. And the delivery side is every single bit of efficiency that you can gain in your delivery. So every single 5 or 10% less bandwidth that you need to use to hit the same quality at the same resolution is gold dust. So having high efficiency encoding, having the ability to use more advanced compression or decompression algorithms to make sure that you're using less of your precious internet bandwidth means both you're getting a better visual experience as the user, but you're also able to offer the HD or the UHD offering to people that traditionally would not be able to consume it, and you'd be able to deliver that as a higher price service. That's kind of two aspects of the equation, Sarah.
And we're looking at another issue, looking at data. How do you make sure people are willing to pay extra for data to watch the content? Francis, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, definitely. So what we're seeing is a huge portion of our transactions really fall under the Go Watch, which is essentially a dedicated promotion that really will allow you to watch at an unlimited or on a bulk rate on our network if you are prepaid. And we are seeing also a huge take up on broadband with when it comes to content consumption. So I guess people are really willing to spend for content consumption. Essentially, it's your partner to keep you entertained whenever throughout the day. And if it's something that will also allow you to get information at a faster speed, not just for entertainment, people are definitely gonna spend.
Derek, and your thoughts on this? It's an interesting one. Data. How do you make people willing to pay more extra for the data to watch that content?
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Some of our customers still think that data cost is still a barrier to consume more, and we have tried to make our video consumption as affordable as possible, addressing the needs of customers wanting more entertainment on their mobile. But the irony for the cost of data for video is that many service providers provide adaptive bit rates. So if they could detect a good mobile internet connection, it will automatically switch to a higher quality of video streaming, which suggests that it will consume more data per minute, right? So Telkomsel needs a lot of spectrum to provide these video services. And unfortunately, we do not have the same access to as much spectrum as some of the other telcos overseas. So video represents a very significant portion of our total mobile payload. So in many ways, our network upgrades are accommodating to this rising video streaming consumption.
Nitin, I've got to give you an opportunity to weigh into this one as well. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with the other two?
Yes, to my mind, the cost, customers increasingly want to pay less and less and less. Yeah, and there's no two way around it. We spoke about adaptive technology, right? The adaptive technology is more from a resolution point of view, right? It's to make sure that the video is as close to a very good quality as it can be delivered on the network at that point of time, right? That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it, which would be more from a customer angle and to actually make video watching a little more, a little cheaper, would be adaptive to cost, right? Now, it really would not matter if I'm consuming a TikTok video, maybe at a 480, right? I really do not need to give a 720 or 1084p there, right? But depending on the data network, the adaptive technology gives a 1080p resolution to the consumer, where his data consumption will suddenly increase, right? But the customer would have been equally satisfied had he got a 480p. Right now, that saves a lot of money for the customer, right? Especially, I'm talking about my market, where the cost is really regulated, and people are really spending very good amount of money on watching or consuming data. And so, this kind of technology can really help consumers, right? Not only in terms of enabling a very good experience on the small screen, but also ensuring that the cost of consumption comes down, is more economical.
And noting the time, and I do want to throw each of you a minute because we do have that time just at the moment. I want to throw maybe straight to you, Adrian. Leave us with some conclusion. Throw us into where you see the market heading. Do you see technology advancing in APAC, this region? Give us a 45-second snapshot, if we can, of each of you. I'll start with Adrian.
Cool. I mean, we're just technology, right? We are there to allow our customers to have the flexibility they need to move and shape in the market that they operate. We specialize a lot in innovation, and therefore some of these things that we are bringing forward as part of our roadmap are also helping our customers differentiate themselves in the market. So for us, it's things like better quality color, as in higher color range, better audio, moving up from 4K to 8K, having obviously flawless playback on a myriad of devices. That's where our technology has a sweet spot, and that's the service that we provide to our customers. And we're just going to keep leveling in and doing more and more of that. That's kind of my answer.
Eric, take us to where you think the market's heading, or where you think technology is going, or where you think it's open to you.
Yeah. Sure, Sarah. No, I think there will be a continued uptick of video streaming globally. True global winners will emerge in the next few years. Some platforms will stop to exist, and media houses will further consolidate beyond the recent consolidation wave in the US. And I believe there will be increased focus on good quality localized content. There will be an increased focus on profitability, which will potentially impact prices. Innovation will be introduced. We talk about AR, VR, which might see an entry to provide more immersive experiences. So, great space to watch.
Francis, I'll head to you. Where do you see? What's your outlook or your final point and conclusion for this discussion?
Thanks, Sarah. I think if you look at based on what we have heard so far, there's a lot of similarities across markets in terms of what and where is mobile heading. But I think to be able to really win in the next few years, I think the incubation of new ideas and diversification of services are some of the most important keys to be able to avoid commoditization. And I think it's a huge problem for many operators now in mobile space. Globe in particular shifted from primarily offering just telco services to offering introductory fields such as entertainment, fintech, e-commerce, and telemedicine, because we feel like we need fresh ideas to be able to execute in the market, because if we don't innovate, then somebody else will do that for us and we will be in trouble. And so I think where we are focusing on really is a lot on the practical items, like looking into the underbanked society. I mean, the Philippines is still largely unbanked, and if we're able to skip the whole process of just telling people to go into a brick and mortar bank just go in digital bank, I think that would be a big win. Also, we're talking about commerce happening anytime, anywhere. So I think if we're able to really connect the power of mobile, your load or your bill, to be able to connect that, I think that's also something that's very, very critical. But alongside of that would be cybersecurity planning, and that would be a very critical play. Just looking from a business to business standpoint, we're also looking at ICT, software sales kind of execution. So, providing more opportunities to small and medium enterprises and big enterprises. I think it's also going to be a race of, smart homes, smart cities, disaster preparedness, using AI in the Internet of Things, and all because of the power of technology. But at the back of that is also, how do we fight as a company disinformation and piracy in the market? So I guess those are my critical points.
And look, Nitin, we'll throw to you, for we're over time, but you've got your fair share of time. So where do you see us heading, or what's your concluding statement from looking at the whole concept or the subject of the role of mobile and the video ecosystem in the APAC region?
I think video is going to grow. I think text is going to stop completely. It's going to be all videos. And I think video has already grown into various streams. Look at education. Yeah. It's all video now. Look at, kindergarten kids. They're learning more from videos than they are actually learning from going to school. Yeah. Look at products. Products are being unboxed and launched, right? Look at commerce. Commerce is no longer e-commerce. It's actually video commerce. The amount of sales which these merchants are able to do on video commerce in China and other Southeast Asian countries is just phenomenal. I saw recently even Miniso executives taking on video sales on video commerce, right? So video is all across. What I foresee is video becoming more and more immersive. Yeah. And with coming of metaverse, I think video fundamentally will transform into something even bigger, right? And more immersive, more rich, more interactive, and that's where we are going.
Hey, thank you very much. We've covered a lot of ground in this conversation. We've also covered quite a few markets across the Asia Pacific region. Thank you to the panelists and to the audience for following this discussion. We have the next panel conversation coming up in just under 15 minutes. Please join us for that. It's TV Broadcasters Strategic Insights. In the meantime, thank you to the panelists, Derek, Nitin, and Francis, and Adrian. We'll see you all next time, and hopefully see the audience again within 15 minutes. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.